Hello and welcome back to the Scale Modelling Cafe, and welcome to another Fireside chat video. This one dealing with the subject of 1/35th scale aeroplanes. Right, where to start? Okay, quite unusual then. So Border have taken the plunge and have decided to do a range of 1/35th scale aeroplanes. They're not the first to do this. TriStar, back in the day, released a 1/35th scale Fieseler Storch, and I built that kit when that came out, and it was a beautiful thing. The moulds were sold to Trumpeter Hobby Boss, and I think it's in their current catalogue actually. It's a great kit. And clearly we've had quite a lot of helicopters in 1/35th scale. Again, I've built the Trumpeter 1/35th Mi-24 Hind, and they do a whole range of 35th helicopters, as do a lot of manufacturers. And I kind of see the point of rotary models being in 35th scale. They do lend themselves to that sort of connection with military vehicles. For some reason, there is that kind of link there, I think. So to do a helicopter in 1/35th scale isn't a bad idea, especially because some of them are really rather large, such as the Sky Crane that has just been released by ICM recently, the Mi-24, the aforementioned, and they are obviously slightly smaller than 1/32nd scale. They're also easy to put in dioramas to fit in with other military vehicles and things. And, you know, I had an idea of doing, I've got an Su-25 in 32nd scale, is doing that in a diorama with a 1/35th scale truck lined up behind it, in front of it, I've got really itchy nose, lined up in front of it and attaching a towing arm and all the rest of it. But, you think, well, it's only 3% difference, but it does make a difference. And even though, you know, it's a truck next to an aeroplane, so they're different things, I do think to the trained eye that a 35th scale truck will look slightly too small. It won't look quite in keeping. Figures, I see no reason why you can't have a 1/35th scale figure next to a 1/32nd scale aeroplane. Absolutely none whatsoever, because we are all different sizes. Maybe it's just, you know, it's not a 6-foot man, it's a 5'8" man or lady next to the aeroplane. And if they're in a kind of bit of a dynamic pose anyway, and not stood to attention next to it, you know, whatever. I think that works. But 1/35th scale standalone aeroplanes. Border model then. So what have they done? They started with the Me-109 G6. They then did the Ju-87, I think it was a G, wasn't it? Stuka. They've done the FW-190, A, whatever it is, A5, A6, can't remember, I think it might be an A6 actually, with the checkerboard cowling. They've done that. And obviously they're going down this path. They've just released, as I film this, some test shots of the B5N2 Kate. Some people are really extremely upset, and I can't fathom that. Some people are upset because they've said, well, if you've got a collection of 32nd scale aeroplanes, it's not going to fit in there. I kind of get that. If you've got a collection of 109s, say you've got some of the early BCD conversions from Alley Cat, you've got an E, Dragon, Trumpeter, Edward, even Matchbox I suppose, E, Revell, Hasegawa Fs, blah blah blah. You've got a collection of 32nd scale 109s yeah, it's going to look noticeably smaller at 35th scale, the border 35th scale 109 G6 in there. So I kind of understand, but if you want a 109 G6 for your collection, just buy one of the 32nd scale ones if you want it to match, frankly. So that's if it's the same kind of aeroplane. Likewise for the Stuka and the Focke-Wulf. But as far as I'm aware, no one makes a Kate in 32nd scale. And will a 32nd scale Kate look so far out of place next to a 35th scale Kate? Look out of place next to a 32nd scale 0 Jack or whatever other 32nd scale aeroplanes you have in your collection? Maybe it will. But it is a completely different airframe design. Maybe it will. But a lot of modelers don't make a particular collection in one particular scale or genre. Like myself. I just build what I want to build and I have it in my collection. And my collection has got all sorts of stuff in it, from 144 all the way up to 132nd scale. I've got World War II props, post-war stuff, Cold War stuff, jets, helicopters, derelict stuff, in-service stuff. I've got all sorts of different things in my collection. And I just build what I want to build. And I think a 135th scale aeroplane in my collection will fit really nicely, because it'll be a standalone thing. And if it's next to a 132nd scale Spitfire or P40 or 109 or whatever, I'm really, really not that bothered, frankly. I kind of get the argument that, well, what about the aftermarket? Seat belts, I think you'll get away with a 32nd scale seat belt in a 35th scale aeroplane. I really do. Maybe you won't. Maybe you will. I think you probably will. But anyway, Eduard are certainly doing photo etch sets for the Border Models 35th scale range. So just buy one of those. Where I can kind of see the argument is they're doing really popular subjects, maybe not the Kate, but the 109s, the 190s, and that kind of thing, that there is a mountain of aftermarket decal sheets, which clearly you're not going to be able to use on your 35th scale aeroplane, and there's very few aftermarket decal sheets for those. And I know there were issues with, certainly with the 109, of quality of decals in that kit. So I kind of get it, but they are out there. If you look around, you will find them. But I get for a 109 G6, there's hundreds of different sheets to choose on, I'm sure. Not so for the Kate, but certainly Hinamaru's, that's easy to paint anyway, isn't it? And I'd probably do that anyway. Obviously some of the other markings, a little bit different. So I kind of get it from that point of view. But I don't think it's worth getting really upset about. And some people are getting really, really upset. And I'm like, well, if it really offends you that much, I'm sure you're not going to be buying the kit anyway. So just go, oh, I would have preferred it 32nd. Maybe I would have bought it if it's in 32nd. But it's in 35th. I don't like 35th scale aeroplanes. So, do you know what? I won't buy this one. I'll buy something else instead. I think the world will still turn, if I'm honest. Obviously, the main advantage of all these 35th scale aeroplanes that are coming out is the diorama possibilities. And there are a lot of diorama modelers out there that I'm sure will be relishing these 35th scale aeroplanes. And to be able to integrate them with all the 35th scale vehicles that are out there would be fantastic. What would also be fantastic if Border Model did some 32nd scale vehicles to put with all the 32nd scale aeroplanes that are out there. That's the other way around of doing it, of course. But as far as I'm aware, there aren't that many, if any, 32nd scale military vehicle kits out there. But the diorama possibilities are, yeah, I won't say endless, obviously, but you know, you can let your imagination run wild and do almost anything with those models. So that's my thoughts on 35th scale aeroplanes. I welcome it because it's choice, and at the end of the day, choice can only be good, in my opinion. And that's the great thing about this hobby, is if you don't want it, don't buy it. Move on by. Why don't you just be pleased for the people who actually quite like the idea of 35th scale aeroplanes? That would be my 2p. And you know, you can vent on forums and Facebook if it makes you feel better. But you know, don't be such a Debbie Downer. Choice is good, and if you don't like it, move on. There's plenty of stuff that gets released that doesn't interest me, so I just move on. It's quite simple. I did have a really weird comment the other day, actually, on one of my, I think it was the Trumpeter 2023 announcement video that I put out, and yeah, he was having a massive go that I didn't talk about armour and ships. Well, I don't build armour and ships, so why would I bang on about all the new armour and ship models that have just come out? You know, am I massively offended that they've released those? No. I didn't mention it because it doesn't interest me. So, you know, if 35th scale aeroplanes doesn't interest you, don't throw your teddies out the cot. Stop throwing yourself around. Just ignore it and just carry on with doing what you like to do. There you go. I suppose you could say that for anything on the internet, really. It's the internet at the end of the day. Right, there we go. That's just over 10 minutes. I'll leave it there. That's my 2p's worth on 35th scale aeroplanes. All I will say is the border model Spitfire that they've announced looks utterly dreadful. Just some really, really weird shapes. It looks like they've copied the Trumpeter Spitfire 5 in 32nd, which is completely balked in cross-section. So that's a real shame. But anyway, whatever, I'm sure it will sell well. And I'll leave it there. So thanks very much for watching. It'd be great to hear your thoughts on the subject. Are you massively enraged by it that you want to put a comment down here? Then obviously do so. If you like me and you're a bit of a, well, I think that's quite interesting, choice is good, whatever, it'd be great to hear your thoughts. Either way, whether it's a thumbs up or thumbs down. There we are. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye-bye.